Hello and welcome back to Thinking It Through with Tia. Thank you for your patience as I took a week off to just take a little bit of break and rest, which is very important. I come back today to talk about a topic that is very major with many people, and I've been asked about it a lot. I will preface today's conversation with I am not a doctor. I do not have a doctorate degree, and I'm not trying to tell you any type of medical advice, but just sharing with you my own personal experience, some of the practices that I did to help me with this situation. And I will tell you that if you know me personally, you know that the only reason that I'm going to say this word today is because of the purpose of this video today. So let's get into talking about anxiety. Anxiety is one of the most popular things that is trending in life right now. Life in general could just make everything very anxious for you. When you don't understand a person who struggles with anxiety, you probably would tend to kind of downplay what they're going through, or you may downplay to say that it's not that serious. Why are they being so extra? But if you know anything about anxiety, you know that it could be all consuming. It could take over your ability to breathe. It could take over your ability to think. It could just make you go into an entire panic. It could cause you to just entirely stay in the house because it could be too overwhelming to just do anything, right? Um, Give people some grace because you don't know what a person is feeling unless you're in their shoes. I personally have struggled with anxiety before, and it was definitely not a fun situation. It was very difficult. I am a part of a large organization that requires me to go to a lot of events, and I suffered from social anxiety. So it's so interesting because people would see me and they would say, "But you seem so outgoing. You don't seem like you would have anxiety." And then you have to stop and ask yourself, what does somebody who seems like they have anxiety look like? Like, what does that even mean? So I guess it's about the labeling and thinking that things have a certain look. But I did struggle with anxiety really bad. I would have to get in the car and listen to meditation music on the way. I would have to breathe. I would have to get my mind fully ready to go around large groups of people. And this is something that I do on a frequent basis. I realized, though, that I couldn't keep living my life that way. I remember my breaking point was I went to a party, and it was different than what I would normally go to, but it was still a great party. But the way that my anxiety took over at that party, I couldn't stay longer than 30 minutes. It was just a lot of movement. It was just a lot of things going on, and it was just too much for me, so I had to leave. Um, I knew then that I couldn't keep living a life of being anxious or not being able to do the things that I need to do without feeling like maybe my heart is going to stop or my heart is going to explode in doing them. So I remember my best friend and I created this idea, right? And it was just so, you would think it was silly, right? But we kind of both were in the same place, sick of the anxiety, sick of the anxiousness, and wanting to find another way. So we kind of realized, we sure talk about anxiety a lot, right? Because it's something we feel a lot. So we talk about it a lot. And so we had to think, okay, well, you can't talk about the things you don't want and then expect them to go away. So we came up with this idea, and the idea was to just not use the word anxiety any longer. The further away we get it from our vocabulary, we're thinking maybe the further away we can get it from our lives. So we sat and we talked about what words could we use in the place of anxiety. And we decided, okay, well, if I'm anxious, what do I desire? Peace. So we decided to change the word to peace. So we took the word anxiety and we changed it to peace. So if we were talking, we would say, I'm feeling at peace at this moment. And I would know, or she would know, that something is kind of bothering one or the other, and that we needed to try to find a way to approach it without addressing that word. So we noticed that as we started to talk, there were little other words we would say that kind of just didn't really help us get where we were trying to go either. So we decided that we would also remove the word frustrating or frustrated and replace it with understanding. So when you go back and you begin to have your conversation, you feel what feels like the buildup of anxiety, but you call it peace. And when you call it peace, it's almost as if you're calling down peace, right? It's like almost as if you're calling down peace over you. And it was an exciting experience to kind of try. Like, we did not realize how much we said the word anxiety until it took the first day for us to say peace so much in one day. It really opened our minds to realize that, dang, we really live in this word, right? We really living in this situation. So we started incorporating understanding on top of frustration, peace on top of anxiety, and we were like, man, it feels great. It feels great. Let's see how long it takes for us to break the anxiety. I will tell you that we expected that it would probably take us a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or something like that. But the most amazing and fascinating thing happened. It took 24 hours. By the next day, after saying the word peace and actually believing that that's what I want to feel, because if I feel this anxiety, I'm thinking about peace, really thinking about peace. Because if you've had anxiety, you don't want to feel that. So I'm really in a situation of feeling peace. And 24 hours later, when we woke up the next day, I remember waking up and wanting to take a slower day, right? And if you know me, I don't watch TV. But I decided to watch TV that day. I was like, I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to try to watch TV. And I was sitting there, and of course, the TV was on, but I wasn't watching it. I don't really have a lot of interest in that. But I just started to kind of think, because I knew something was off and I couldn't figure out what it was that was off, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is wrong? What is different? And then I realized it was so quiet. And I'm not talking about the TV. I'm not talking about the environment. I was quiet on the inside. And if you suffer with anxiety and you've never tried to get yourself out of it, you may not realize that anxiety is very loud. People think that anxiety is just a person who gets very nervous when they're going around places, or they start breathing a little different, or they just get a little just anxious. But you could feel your blood rushing through your arms. Like, you can feel the blood rushing through your arms. You can hear your heart beating crazy. You feel all kinds of turmoil going on inside of your body when you're dealing with anxiety. It's not a cute thing, and it's not necessarily a simple thing to deal with, right? But I never would have imagined that it could be something that I could clear myself of in 24 hours. I remember calling my friend because I got really excited, right? I got really excited. I jumped up, I grabbed my phone, I called my best friend, and I'm like, hey, how are you doing today? And now, funny, she's laying in the bed just doing a little lounge day too. And she's like, I'm feeling pretty good. What about you? And I'm like, no. How are you feeling? And it took her a moment, but she came to the same place that I'm at. Like, oh my God, wow, like, oh my God, it was just so exciting. And of course, we continue to use that word. You know, I even when I talk to many of my employees, I don't use that word when I'm talking to them. I'll generally spell it. Even when I'm talking with my children, I try to avoid that word because it, to me, you give certain words power. And if you use that word to describe how you're feeling, you're giving it power over you. So I'm not really the type to let anything pretty much have power over me. So I didn't like it. So I decided I was going to change it. And that's exactly what I did. And it's been very beautiful along the way, right? Now, for everybody, it probably won't be that easy, right? So let's talk about some of the other things that you can do to help you with dealing with anxiety if you are not ready to just erase it by just not speaking it anymore. The best thing that you can do the best thing that I did when I suffered with the anxiety really bad is I just learned to control my breathing and my mind at the same time. So I originally started off with 3 deep breaths in, hold, 3 deep breaths out. Well, releasing. You understand me? So 3-second deep breath. Sorry, not 3 deep breaths. 3-second deep breath in, pause, 3 seconds out, right? Because I meditate on a regular basis, I breathe a little bit deeper. So I do 5, pause 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing in, pause, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, breathing out. And then I just do that until I can feel everything coming back to peace inside of me. But at the same time, I'm reminding myself mentally that I'm safe, that I'm enough, that the things that I'm probably worrying about are very minor and that I have to let it go, or that all is well. That all is well is 3 simple words that could change the way you see life, honestly. If you can consistently remind yourself that all is well, especially in the moment that you're about to go haywire based off of anxiety or something like that, you could take what could be a next couple of hours, days, anxious experience to actually getting out before it actually starts and stopping it, right? So that was just one of the things that I would do. If I felt like I was going to get anxious, I would just take deep breaths. You can close your eyes if you want, but you do not have to close your eyes if you don't want. But just take deep breaths in, hold it, breathe out, and just let your mind drift into peace and understand that it will all work out. Maybe sometimes I would think about all of the times that I've been around people and I was anxious going into it, but then I just had like the greatest night of my life, or I just had a wonderful time. And I remind myself that I want to be able to experience more times like that. So I have to figure out a way to balance out the thing that holds me back, or the unnecessary cycle that I endure getting ready to go out to do something, right? So I shouldn't have to endure the cycle of being nervous or stressed or anxious because of not being an extrovert, or, whatever the reasons are, when I could just decide in advance that, nah, I'm not cool with having anxiety. I'm not okay with having anxiety. So I'm just not going to have it. I'm just not going to allow it to control. Now, of course, if you are a person that's dealing with severe anxiety and you need to see a provider for that, please see your provider. Please work with your provider to help you with this. For me, it was just an experiment almost of being fed up and not wanting to deal with it any longer, and then finding a way that just works, a way that was feasible, a way that didn't take a lot of effort, because when stuff takes a lot of effort, you tend to give up. right? That's just being honest. So if you say that that's not you, okay, good luck. But I wanted to do something that really could change my life. And I figured today I would share that with everyone because it really did change my life. So at this point, I would say it's been about maybe a year. About a year of no anxiety after 24 hours. That was just a beautiful situation. Another thing that you can do if you feel as though you're maybe getting anxious in an environment that you can't show that you're doing a breathing technique, because you feel like that will make you feel like people are noticing you or whatever. Because if you have anxiety, everything makes you anxious. I get it, right? So one of the things that I just came across recently that really kind of changed my mindset on meditation and thoughts and things like that was understanding that you have your higher self. You have God, you have the universe, whatever you define. But there is a different version of you that lies inside. That version is always at peace, or can always be at peace, right? So what I have come to learn is that the things going on external have no impact to what you have going on internally, right? So I have a right to choose peace. To choose peace within my spirit, within my soul, within the inside of me. And then I can just let my thoughts do what they do. Let the world do what it does. I could see my thoughts go by, but I don't have to interact with them. I don't have to let them make me upset. I don't have to let them make me worried. I don't have to let them make me feel stressed or anxious or anything, right? So you have a right to choose what you do with. And I choose peace. So for me, I choose peace on the inside. So much so that I now can meditate awake, right? Like fully, and I guess not awake because I'm always awake, but I could meditate like this. So I am talking to you, but I'm meditating on the inside. So sometimes people think that I seem too peaceful. I didn't know that was a thing, but okay. Let's say some people say that I seem too peaceful, or why don't you get upset, or why don't you let these things bother you, or does this mean that you don't care about anything, or you just don't care about anything. You just release everything. I care fully about all things. All things around me I care fully about. I just make the choice that I won't allow them to impact me. I won't allow the fact that maybe work is hard today to be the reason that I decide my life isn't good or that I should be stressed. Maybe, people deal with financial issues. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do about my finances. I'm not going to stress about that because it's not my business, right? It's not my business to worry about things like that. I like to believe that I'm protected and provided for. Therefore, why am I stressing over the things that's not my responsibility to provide for myself anyways? So why not lean into trust, right? So that's the thing that holds you away from the anxiety. You have to get into a state of trust. If you don't fully trust yourself, the universe, God, whatever it is that you needed to put your trust in, what result did you truly expect to get from it? Because you went into it not believing that it would work anyway. So what are you believing today? What are you willing to put into it? If you really would like to clean up this anxiety, I challenge you to give it a shot. Remove that word from your vocabulary and watch the things that can unfold around you. But you have to replace it with something that is something that you desire. And watch the way that your life changes. I can tell you at this point, I've removed a lot of words from my vocabulary, and my life is definitely very different. Like, I tried to get someone to understand that they asked me why wasn't I sad about a situation. And I was like, sadness, what is that? What is this word that you described? That doesn't exist in my vocabulary. So no, I don't feel that feeling because it doesn't exist for me. I feel peace because it's what I choose to live in. I feel happiness. I feel joy because it's what I wake up and choose every day. The circumstances of life do not define the way that I feel or the way that I move or the way that I speak or the way that I interact. Only I do that. I define that. And in defining that, I make a choice every day. I choose me. I choose to be who I was uniquely created to be. There is only one me. If you ever met me and interacted with me, you will never replace me. You'll never replace me. Why? Not because of any type of ego or any type of cockiness that some people sometimes think I have because they see me, but more so because of confidence in who I personally am. And in knowing that if every day I wake up and I make decisions that are about the betterment of my life and the support and help of others' lives, what is there for me to be ashamed of within myself, or what is there for me to worry about coming out against me when I know who I am? It doesn't mean that people won't try, and that's okay. People can, try to prove that you can't possibly have healed, right? Because I don't know why people do that, but they do, right? And there are going to be some people that are going to tell you couldn't have possibly have healed that fast. You're delusional. You're lying to yourself. But maintain your peace. Live in your own peace. Maybe it's time to go into a little bit of solitude if no one around you can understand why it's important for you to take the steps that you're taking to heal what you know is damaged in you, because you know that you have purpose in this life and you have things that you need to do that something like anxiety will stop you from doing. So do whatever is best for you. I hope that this helps someone. It was a great experience for me. It has been great ever since. And if you do try it, someone please share with me in the comments what your results were. If you have any questions about any other activities that you can do, feel free to reach out, ask in the comments. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. But thank you so much for joining me yet again with Thinking It Through with Tia. I'm wishing everyone a wonderful, wonderful day, free from anxiety, frustration, stress, sadness, whatever word you don't want, remove it from your life. Wishing everyone the greatest day they could ever have.